Okay, let's look at the articles. So I've tried to group them into categories so that you can have that. So wanting some of the articles really talk about having more of a high level of supervision or protection. Here's one that it actually takes a very moderate view, but it does come under, supervision is needed. So this one is from The Guardian, and it's called Connected and Protected, Balancing Children's Online Freedom and Safety. Okay, so that by Joanna Goodman. Okay, so that starts with a very dramatic, tragic, terrible thing that happened, right, from a young teen using the internet. So we have that horrible tragedy that it opens up with, but it could be very effective in making a point that you want to make or to counter it. So if you go through here, there's a lot of, she explains a lot about how tools and apps can be very helpful in for safety and still allowing children to have some freedom. So then, and then, she wraps it up. She wraps it up with coming back to that point of basically that she's coming from a place, it is really moderate. She thinks that children should be able to use, computers, but that she feels that parental supervision is important, and then she discusses the tools necessary for doing that. But if you're unsure, they're all opinion essays. All the ones I've given you are opinion essays, really. So if you're unsure where the author is coming from, then take a look at the intro. If you've read the whole article, if you do read the whole article, but if you've read the article and you're like, I'm not really sure, what's their point again? Look at the intro and then look at the conclusion, and that will often give you that hint, right? Okay, so that's that one. Next, I'll just mention this one, which is called The Economic Case Against Free-Range Parenting and in Favor of Being a Helicopter Parent. This one is by Matthias Doepke and Fabrizio Zabatti. All right, so they also wrote a book on the topic, so there's more information that you can even access in the book if you wanted to use that as a source as well. But this is in a publication called Market Watch. And this one takes a different view. It takes a similar view, but for different reasons. So free-range parenting is a term that means that has developed, meaning that children should have more freedom in the world, really. More freedom in the world to develop their skills, confidence, etc. So this is not for that. This is in favor of helicopter parenting. And what it's saying, but it takes a unique view on it. It's saying that to give them the best opportunity for success in today's world as far as succeeding in school and in life, that children need more supervision. So this would be offline. This would be if you're focused on online. This could be helpful. This one is more geared toward offline. All right, so there's that one. Okay, so then we have this is kind of right in the middle. This one is called How Independent Should Teenagers Be? This one takes a really moderate, middle of the road, I would say, approach, they basically come down on offering guidelines, and what am I trying to say? Sorry. Guidelines and some, moderate supervision, and but having the teenager make their own choices in some regard with some support from the parents. So check out that. This is more about offline in the real world, that sort of thing. So this is called How Independent Should Teenagers Be? And it says research demonstrates that agency is an important contributor to happiness. So they discuss that. The author is Christina L. Carter, PhD. And it is from, where is the article from? for some reason I can't lay my hands on the title. It's a psychology magazine, and I can't. The print is too small for me to read from this thing. But you can read it when I sent it out, right? I believe it's from a psychology publication. All right, so we have that one. That's very moderate. Then we have this one here. Oh, this one. I forgot to tell you about this one. This is kind of moderate as well, but it takes a really unique perspective. And so this one's called Free-Range Parenting's Unfair Double Standard. So it might sound like it's against free-range parenting, again, where children have more freedom to navigate the world on their own. It's not exactly against that, but it takes a really unique perspective that I think is really worth checking out. And it says that the subtitle is when poorer mothers and fathers let their children play unsupervised, they come under suspicion. So this is saying that if you're that sometimes folks are not necessarily trying to do a particular child development theory in parenting and using, free-range parenting to allow children to have more freedom for their development, but sometimes it becomes an economic necessity because they can't find adequate childcare, and there are those constraints. And so that is examining that reality and looking at how children and their parents, more so really, could be unfairly judged in some cases, especially when they just don't have a lot of options, and where people are, calling the police and things like that, where they're not doing that for everyone. So it's really middle of the road in what it's advocating for as far as freedom or supervision. But what's unique about it is it's saying that this is not necessarily the ramifications of this practice of kids having more independence, especially at younger ages, is not equal in how it works out for parents and children. It's really interesting point of view, and a good perspective to look at. All right, so then we have two really on the other side of the spectrum. This one says this is an article from the New York Times that is called The Case for Free-Range Parenting, and this is from Clemens Wergen is the author, and he is advocating for more freedom for children and young people, more or less to navigate the world, but more freedom. And he gives an example from his own child and that sort of thing, and he examines the kind of how we what used to be considered the norm in our country has really changed and shifted, and he looks at some reasons why, and again, you get his point of view on that. All right, and then this one is also more advocating more freedom, and this one says for young folks, it says, to raise confident, independent kids, some parents are trying to let grow, and this is Dina Pritchett. This is from actually NPR, KQED, and I think it was, on the radio or something too. But this is more, I guess this one is not, all of the rest have been opinion pieces. This is less than that. This is more, the author is more just reporting on this phenomenon, giving the perspective of the parents that really advocate for their children to have more freedom as far as to develop into their best selves, and it gives their philosophy. So that's more reporting it, but it gives some a really good perspective and that sort of thing. All right, so then that could be helpful as well. So I tried to choose articles from a variety of different perspectives on this issue and different sources, and so that you can use those articles. Those articles are available to you. You do want to cite them, but they are definitely available to use. But again, you can use your own as well, or again, you can just as well use your own personal experience. Just don't forget to put it in. All right, so this was the overview of the paper. It is my intent to also do what I call a writer's workshop via video as well. But I wanted to give you an overview, go over the prompt, get you thinking about the topic, give you some access to articles that I think may help to inform your opinion and help you to just develop your own ideas on the topic so that you can explain them in a very focused way. And so to help you again to just kind of really get into this before you start writing the paper, I do have a homework assignment that I will post in the assignment section that I would like you to do to really help you get into this. And that is, again, I just said you don't have to read all of these articles in detail. I just gave you a bunch of them so that you could have a variety available to you and ready to go on different perspectives. You certainly can, and I think reading through all of them does give you like a real full spectrum of ideas on this topic. But what I would like you to do for homework is to choose 2 of the articles that are different in perspective, and many of them are different from one another. So that shouldn't be too taxing to choose 2. Choose 2 of the articles, and for each one, read the article. I'm just picking up this one, it could be any of them. But read the article through, so that when these 2 you would read closely. Do a close reading of the article, and then for each one, write a one-page response of how this article helped you to be more informed on this issue, be informed on this perspective, or helped to set you up to, maybe it gave you some quotes that you could use, or helped you to understand the opposition more, how it helped you. If you chose one of the articles and you found it to be disappointing in some way, that's okay too. You could still use that and just say that if it was not as helpful as you had hoped, then that's okay. But you would just explain why specifically. And I do want in either case for you to give either it was helpful, was not helpful at all for some reason, or it was moderately helpful. Do give 2 specific details from the article that support your idea. That it shows me you read it. It shows me that you are really using it to really help you write your paper. So again, you're going to, so article number 1, whatever it is your choice, you would focus on that one. Do give me which one you're working with, so the title and the author, and you would respond to it about a page, how it helped you, how it is going to help you write the paper, or how it helped you to understand this issue, or helped you to understand it from a different perspective. Any of that is fine. Just explain and give at least 2 details from the article to help support that idea. If it didn't help you, because for some reason you thought it was kind of different than it ended up being, or you thought it would be more helpful than it was, or whatever whatever the details of that are, that's totally fine, because we're all individuals and we all have different responses. We bring our whole selves into what we read. So then you would just explain that. You would just explain why it was not as helpful as you had hoped, and you would give 2 examples from it in that case. So again, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles. They're all at your disposal to use, but you're only required to do the homework response for 2. All right, thank you so much. This was fun. This is our first video, and it was fun to put this together, and I hope that it's helpful to get you thinking about our first paper. All right, thanks.